Good afternoon, students. Our class today is going to be regulation of internal environment. Regulation of internal environment, and our emphasis is going to be on homeostasis. Let me start by asking you this question. Have you ever wondered why your body system eliminates toxic like urine? Have you ever wondered why your body does not keep the sweat in its system? This is because there is an organ, or there are various organs in your body, like the kidney, like the skin, like the liver, like the brain, like certain chemicals called hormones. These are responsible for the regulation of all these substances we have in our body. For example, your body doesn't need to keep urine. Why? Because urine is toxic, and so when it is processed by the kidney will have to make sure that it is eliminated because it has harmful effects on the body. That brings us to what we call regulation of internal environment, and I'll be placing more emphasis on homeostasis, and I'm sure at the end of this class you're going to be understanding what is homeostasis and you will appreciate the essence of this class. Let's look at the introduction. An organism regulates its internal environment and keeps it in steady state by constantly adjusting any changes in the physical and chemical conditions of its body. For example, the word constantly adjusting any changes, that tells you why when the weather is very, very cold, your body wants to adjust. You find out that when the weather is cold, we tend to go to the toilet to urinate more. When the weather is actually hot, all right, we tend to have less urine and then more sweat. This is actually a regulation. There's an adjustment in the amount of water and urine in the body system. That actually points to what we call regulation, because the word regulation means a control over a particular activity. I give you a very pictorial example of how regulation takes place. All of us know the electric fan. The electric fan does not work on its own accord. It works with a prompting of a particular device called the regulator. What does the regulator do? The regulator does the job of switching on and switching off. That is regulation. The regulator does the job of increasing speed and reducing speed according to the desire of who is enjoying the ventilation from the fan. That is a good example of how regulation takes place. Also in our body system, we have organs that regulate, that control, that create a balance or a management of how certain chemicals or certain substances should be eliminated, those that should be reabsorbed in our body system. And now let's look at it now. These conditions that are being regulated include the following. Temperature. We talked about the degree of coldness or hotness of the body at a particular time. We have what is called pH, that talks about the degree of alkalinity or the degree of acidity in a particular environment. We have the osmotic pressure, which talks about the pressure or the force that makes osmosis to take place in a particular system. We also have the concentration of dissolved substances. What are these substances that are found in our body fluid? We have the concentration of dissolved carbon dioxide, CO2. We have the concentration of oxygen, which is represented as O2. We have urea, which is a very toxic substance, and the kidney knows that this is toxic, so it finds a way to quickly eliminate it inside the urine. We also have other food substances like glucose. Glucose is not just the glucose you know, but we're talking about the simplified, broken down form of carbohydrate. We also have amino acid, which is a simple form of protein. Let's go on as we look at homeostasis proper now. Homeostasis, very powerful word. Homeostasis is defined as the maintenance of a steady internal environment. Get it? Not external environment, but internal environment. And in the internal environment of every living organism, there are organs. These organs control, manage, and regulate what should happen to us per time. What should be reabsorbed, fluid that should be taken into the body, and the ones that should be eliminated. Why? Because they are toxic. In other words, it is the regulation of the internal environment of the body so as to maintain a steady, not a haphazard, but a steady state by self-regulation adjustment in order to provide optimum, maximum conditions for normal and efficient functioning of the body. So for us to live healthy life, we need to have our organs healthy. It is the organs in our body system that makes us healthy. When there's a dysfunctional effect on your kidney, there's a dysfunctional effect on your life. When there's a dysfunctional effect on your liver, you find out that your whole body metabolism and mechanism are affected. And that's why regulation is important. When you understand this regulation, it means that you understood what homeostasis explains to. Let's go on. What are the parts in the body that are involved in homeostasis? The main organs that are involved in carrying out homeostatic activities include what we call the kidneys. We have 2 kidneys in the body. We have the liver carrying out homeostatic processes. We have the skin, which you all know, carrying out homeostatic activities. We have hormones. These hormones are not just substances, but they are chemical substances that are found in the endocrine gland. Endocrine glands are ductless glands, and they are said to be ductless glands because they are not actually organs in fleshy form, but they are actually operational in fluid states in our body. We also have one of the finest organs in the body, and I usually talk about the brain. The brain is the engine house. It controls all of the 1, 2, 3, 4 activities or organs that we have. I usually call it the powerhouse because all the activities in the body are controlled by it. Look at my MB. I said the brain has overall control over homeostatic processes in the body. And one of my students may be asking me, so why? Why does the brain have overall control of homeostatic process? Simple answer made clear for you. The reason is because the brain controls both voluntary and involuntary activities. So one of the examples of voluntary activities, when you want to sleep, the brain controls you. Alright? One of the involuntary activities you know is that you don't take your body does not take permission from you when you want to actually sweat. When the body wants to excrete sweat, it doesn't need to take permission. In fact, you don't need to be in the know that you are about to sweat. It is an involuntary activity. Reflex activities that take place in your body, like jerking, all of these are controlled by the brain. So both voluntary, the one you know, and involuntary, the one you don't need to even know about, but it is taking place in your body, are managed and controlled by your body, including when you want to urinate, which is a voluntary activity. The brain is involved in it. So your brain is a very powerful organ coordinating all of these activities. Let's look at the next item now. This is a pictorial view of one of the organs that carries out homeostatic activities. We have the kidney here. This is a human kidney anatomy. The first here we have is the external view of the kidney, and then we have the second here is the internal anatomy of the kidney. What you have here exemplifies a dark brown structure of your kidney, right? This is a dark brown structure of your kidney, and then if you look at it here, this is actually a reflection of the renal artery. The job of the renal artery is to pick blood, all right, from the heart to the kidney, and then we have the renal vein here, which transports blood back to the heart. The job of it. Then you have a ureter here. The ureter, not the urethra. The ureter here is a tube, a cavity, which allows the passage of urine to go down. And then below this, you have a bladder. The job of the bladder is to keep urine temporarily and then eliminate it when it is time for it. Then you have the internal structures here, which if we go further, we may not be able to exhaust it, but these internal structures here talks about the cavities, the various tubules, including the renal artery and the renal vein, and then the ureter that you have here. All of these function to make the kidney a very powerful excretory organ in our body. Let's go to the kidney, or perhaps the liver. This is one of the organs too. This is one of the powerful organs that is found in our body, the liver. Looking reddish brown also. The job of the liver is to help in metabolizing. The word metabolism means the activity of both build up and breakdown of certain substances that your body need to require. For example, glucose or carbohydrate that you take into your body is broken down by the liver. We also have one function of the liver here, which is involved in detoxification. The word detoxification means to remove toxins. What are toxins? Toxins are harmful substances that you don't need, like urea. Urea is a toxin, like the sweat that you have, like the uric acid that you have in your body, which are end product of digestion, are all detoxified by the liver. Let's go to the next one, which is the organ of the skin. We have two structures here. First, we have the external view here. This is how your skin looks externally, but this is how it looks internally. This is the anatomical structure of your skin. The structure you have here is so clear. Now, if you look at the brown light structure here, it is a reflection of this, because this is actually how your external skin looks like. All right, it is called the epidermis. But just below the epidermis, you have the dermis. The dermis has a lot of other structures underneath it, like the oil gland, like the pores. The pores here talks about where sweat comes out or certain substances go into your body, and then below the dermis is what you have has other structures which carry out excretory activity in your body. Let's look at the next organ, which is the one I call the powerhouse, the brain. The brain is the engine room of the human body, carrying out or managing all homeostatic processes. If you look at it here, the first here is the forebrain, the midbrain, and then you have the hindbrain behind. Let's look at the kidney proper now. Kidney proper. I'm sure you will understand this. I did say earlier that the structure of the kidney is a bean-shaped external structure. It looks like the structure of a bean seed. All of us here how the bean seed looks like. So the structure of it is like that of a bean seed. It is 2 in number, or there are 2 in number. And then the paired kidneys are the excretory organ of humans, which help to regulate the internal environment. So the structure of your kidney is actually 2. And morphologically, you will see that it looks like the structure of the bean. Right? You have the right kidney and then the left kidney, all of them functioning to carry out excretory activity. Let's quickly look at 2 functions, or the functions of the kidney. The first function here I have is the excretion of nitrogenous waste. One major function of the kidney is the excretion of nitrogenous waste. What are these nitrogenous waste? Urea is an example of nitrogenous waste, and other ammonium compounds from the blood. So the kidney evacuates, eliminates, removes all of this from your body. The second function of the kidney is osmoregulatory function. Osmoregulatory function. It helps to carry out the osmoregulation of water and salt balance. Let me explain this. Your body does not have enough space to keep toxins, waste substances. What does it do? So it looks for a way to see that there is a balance between salt and water, and that's why your body cannot take more than maybe 5 sachets of water per time. But perhaps you take so much amount of water, so much volume of water, your body begins to find a way to quickly break down this and make sure that there's a balance in it. So more of the waste inside of your body goes out through the water and ends up in the kidney. That is actually a balance for water. And then the salt, if it is too much in your body begins to find a way also through the help of the kidney to see that there is a balance between water and salt. And that's why when you look at your sweat on your skin, you find out that if you taste the sweat on your skin, it tastes salty. That is actually an osmoregulatory function carried out by the kidney. Very quickly, I said that osmoregulation is the process where an animal creates or regulates balance between water and salt in its body fluid. Let's quickly look at some of the diseases that can affect the kidney. The first disease I have here is called diuresis. Diuresis is a condition in which the cells of the kidney, there are so many cells that have conglomerate, packed together. They form tissues. These tissues form organs, and this organ is now referred to as the kidney organ. All right. So these cells, when their tubules are not able to reabsorb water from the glomerular filtrate, as a result of this, large amount of water is passed out as urine. When an individual finds it difficult to reabsorb more amount of water through the help of a part of the kidney called the glomerular filtrate, you find out that that individual begins to go to the latrine. It's just like saying passing water from one end of a tube to another end of a tube. Because of that, the person begins to frequent the toilet or frequent the latrine. That's why most times you find out that a patient suffering from diuresis is going to toilet up to 10 times. Why? Because of the case of this. What are the effects of diuresis? Number 1, it leads to loss of weight. The person begins to emaciate, looks thin. Number 2, it leads to excretion of large amount of water. Like I said earlier, the person frequents the toilet just to carry out urination. What is the remedy to diuresis? The first remedy I recommend is that the individual or the patient should be recommended to take diuretics. Diuretics should be administered so as to get rid of excess water in the body. And then number two, the patient should be recommended for surgical operations so that the patient can live normal life ahead of time again. Thank you very much, and I'm sure you have been so informed by this class. Looking forward to see you in another class, but meanwhile, you have to make sure you do this assignment. Number one, neatly draw and label the diagram of kidney and make sure you keep to the rules. The rules is that you must maintain 8 to 10 centimeters for this. I'm sure you understand that. Number two, what is ultrafiltration as it relates to the topic? Number two is what is selective reabsorption? Selective reabsorption. And last but not the least, explain what causes nephritis. Thank you, keep safe and keep strong at home.